Self-quiet.
Today's meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order on August 23rd, 2023. Welcome, everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Agendas of today's meeting are on the wall at the entrance of the chambers. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. The Municipal Code Enforcement Board consists of 7 members who are appointed by the City Council. We serve voluntarily. It is the board's intention to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Clearwater by providing this equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing certain codes within the city. The board considers new business items in 2 parts. First, the violation, and then the affirmative relief. Formal rules of evidence do not apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes. The board may grant additional time. All proceedings to be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from the chambers. Now I ask all that plan to speak rise and be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Is there anyone here to speak on items not on the agenda? Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business items. So what do we have? Case number 32-22, status upgrade on Coachman Park Condo Association at 2625 State Road 590, Building 5. Oh, this is the staircase, I think.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Attorney Adam Gurley on behalf of Coachman Creek. Dealing with the reconstruction and repair of the front walkways to a condominium building within Coachman Creek, as well as repairs to the balcony. We've reported back every few months to give an update. I touched base with the construction company and the engineer overseeing the project prior to today so that they could give me that update. They've let me know that the structural repairs to the front walkways are almost complete. They are pouring the final concrete on the front walkways to finish that project. The framing for those front walkways has already passed city inspection. They expect to move on to the back balconies fairly soon once that is completed. The completion date for the entirety of the project based on the last change order is October 15th. They've cited some material delivery delays, but they still think October 15th they can, at least at this moment, get it done by then. So I would ask if the board is inclined to invite me back perhaps in November. Hopefully I'll have a promising update to let you know that that project has been completed. I believe that at the last hearing, I did not attend, my colleague did, that there was a request for pictures. So I did ask the engineer to send us pictures as well, and I have copies of those if the board would like to see the
Do you not mind not sharing a picture on one of the,
If you put them
on the sides?
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn it facing you. There. Turn it. Keep going. Keep going.
Board then.
Is that?
180.
180.
One more.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. I knew we'd get there.
All right.
You are a lawyer, we understand.
180, 360, that's right, yeah. Somebody, all right, so here's the big picture of the front walkways and the status. I believe these were taken yesterday. Here's the flooring. They've put down the membrane, and this is where they're going to add the concrete as the final step to the walkways, is my understanding. We have door thresholds, some of the flashing, end bands, aluminum beams, some of the stucco repairs, and then, of course, the wood that they put up to protect the doorways.
When we get Inspector Cantrell up here, make sure he's happy.
I see a label right here that says bottom and top, so.
Sir, could we have your name and firm you're with?
Absolutely. It's Adam Gurley, Gurley. I'm with Rabin Parker Gurley, PA.
Thank you, Mr. Gurley.
Absolutely.
Thank you. do we want to make a recommendation for a,
Can we, is Mr. Cantrell here? Is he the code enforcement?
Yeah,
Is everything going good? City happy?
Yes, they do have an active permit. They've only called in 2 inspections, so I would recommend you may want to mention that to the contractor, make sure they get all their inspections called in. But other than that, they are progressing.
Thank you.
thank you. Do we want to ask for a status update for November? Do we want to make a motion?
Yeah, how do we go back?
Make a motion for,
November?
We'll put it on for November.
Okay,
All right.
just put it on for
put it on for November. Okay,
Do we make a motion? You don't, no,
No.
just do it.
we'll see you in November. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Case 5223, find respondents AEC Sunset Point LLC at 2750 Sunset Point Road in violation of Code of Portable Storage. Anybody here to speak on it?
Mr. Chairman, I need to disclose to the board that this is also a client of mine,
Okay,
so I will be giving no opinions other than any procedural issues that may come before you.
thank you. If you could state your name for the record.
I'm Clay Gilman with McFarland Ferguson and McMullen here on behalf of AEC Sunset Point LLC. As to this issue, we have no issue with agreeing that the storage containers were in violation prior to the meeting, but compliance has been met, now prior to the meeting as well. So that's for this issue.
Okay,
We have no objection.
if you can have a seat, and we'll hear from Inspector Brown, and we'll welcome.
Get things cooking here for you. Okay, now we're ready. Good afternoon, Board. Shelby Brown, City of Clearwater Code Inspector. We're here for case 52-23. It's for 2750 Sunset Point Road. This is a property you may be familiar with. We've been before the board before over the years, but I think by the time we get to this end of this presentation, we'll have a good result. All right? So there was one violation that I'm here for today. We've been here for other things, but today is just the one violation that I had left, and it was a zoning violation. There was an unpermitted use at the property. It's an unpermitted temporary use of portable storage units or containers. They're not supposed to be a full-time use or a permanent use. It's a very limited window that you can have them, and we found that that property was in violation of that, and it's covered by Code Sections 1-104B, which is a zoning violation or development code violation, and Code Section 3-2103H2, which are for temporary uses, and that's in a non-residential zone. All right, so you'll see here our notice of violation was sent back in May of 2021. That's why we want to present this. It's been going on a long time. We sent that notice of violation out. The compliance date was set for June 21st of 2021, which was extended to July 21st of 2021 at the owner and his attorney's request. And we did get the certified mail green card back on May 25th of 2021, 27 months ago. All right, here's just an overhead aerial of this property from Property Appraiser. There's 2 properties kind of contained here. The issue today is on the green section. That's what 2750 Sunset Point Road is. All right, so going back to April 23rd of 2021, what you're looking at, you see 4 different vehicles or containers there. On the far left and far right are what we're here for today. Those are the portable storage units or containers. They're non-vehicular, and they were there for a long time. So that was May 23rd of 2021. There's a picture of the yellow one that has been there for a long time or had been there, and there's the white one. There's a couple of semi-trailers there in the middle. Those were inoperable, and we'd also cited for that at some point. On August 26th, same condition. We've got everything there still, the portable storage units flanking the trailers. All right, let's flash forward to November 2nd of 2021. You can see the warehouse building for AEC here. So they've got a big building, and there you see the 2 storage units. The semi-trailers are gone. That was a win. Those trailers or containers are still there, though. And at that time, things were kind of tidy around the containers. We're going to move way forward to April 12th of this year. And at that time, when I came out that day, There's a lot of things stored on the outside of these storage containers that have been there for a couple years longer than they're allowed to be. There was an RV out there that day. I don't know, a barbecue, some different things happening. Neither here nor there. We're not here about that per se, but, just so you can see what I was seeing. All right, June 3rd of this year, we still have these containers here, and they are not containing all of the items that are sitting around them. A lot of outdoor storage, debris, etc. There's a picture of the back of one of the containers, lots of materials just sitting there. And if you need a stop sign, it's gone now, but there was that out there, lots of different items. Okay, on August 11th, just 2 weeks ago, I went out and we still had the containers there. Still lots of materials out there, so the violation still existed on August 11th. We got word from the owner's attorney that the containers had been removed. I think we got that notice on August 16th. I went out on the 17th, complied, corrected, everything's cleared off, those containers are gone, the materials that were around them are gone, and with that, compliance was met. So, for case 5223-2750 Sunset Point Road, there was one violation there for an unpermitted use of a portable storage unit, and compliance was met. So I am requesting a declaration of violation at this time.
Thank you very much for the
You're welcome.
detail.
Any questions?
No? Do I have a declaration from someone?
I may want to say one more thing. I want to thank the property owner for working so hard to get things in compliance. We're really happy about that.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case. The violation was corrected prior to today's hearing and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Case number 5323. Is this the same one?
Different one.
Is this a different violation on the,
It's the same property, Mr. Cantrell's.
it's a different violation on the same property?
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
So this is a different violation?
Yes.
Okay. Case number 5323, AEC Sunset Point LLC at 2750, violation of code permits.
They are here. Did you want to talk to them first?
Yes. We'll take a moment with them and then.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm Clay Gilm with McFarland Ferguson McMullen here again on behalf of AEC Sunset Point. This is in regards to landscape buffering. We don't have an issue with submitting a plan. We've hired a landscape architect to design such a plan. We would just ask that we have 90 days for permit and compliance rather than the typical 60-30 because sometimes the permitting takes a little longer. Compliance shouldn't take long at all once the permit is issued. But we do not have an issue with submitting a plan that the city will then review, obviously.
Okay.
And we'd be happy to come into compliance.
So at this point, do you admit the violation?
So, we wouldn't like to admit the violation, we just are rather trying to work with the city. I don't know if that's an option.
No, but admitting the violation just means you still be working with the city, just you know it's there and we're going to take care of it.
Go ahead, good speak.
Yes, good evening to you. My name is Cameron Rouhani,
Perfect, thank you.
and when we obtained permit back in 2019, we did all that was instructed and written in the permit requirements. We complied with everything. We had the city inspector come and look at all the work that was done in terms of grading, removal of certain pepper trees and whatnot, which is what they wanted. We had Swift Mud involved and the FDEP involved. Everyone looked at all the work that was done. They gave us thumbs up, all three, city, FDEP, and Swift Mud. So that goes now 4 years later. Swift Mud is very happy. We created a lot of different survey requirements that came to us as a result of city requesting from us. We complied with all of those. We did spent a lot of money doing surveys as they wished. They submitted those things, city accepted those things. The city maps are now updated. Some 4.5 years later, city requests that we do landscaping over an area that naturally is grown and controlled by Swiftmud. So as a result of that request from the city, we have been in touch with Swiftmud to allow us to work cooperatively, all three, four, the FDEP, Swiftmud, city, and us, work together, make sure that we do things that are in compliance and meets with everybody's code requirements. So that's why he said that it's not admission of violation. They've complied at each stage successively and progressively. We can't make up things on our own. We have to follow the instructions that we get from Swiftmud.
Yeah, if you don't mind having a seat for a minute, we're going to hear from Cantrell and then...
May I add one thing,
Certainly.
Mr. Chairman? We have to take that as a denial. Okay.
Can we come back and speak after?
Oh, yeah,
Inspector?
I'm not addressing that. What I'm saying is, if you don't admit for your convenience and benefit, it is denial.
Understood. We'll be back up to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Inspector.
Good afternoon, Board. Jason Cantrell. This is, again, the property at 2750 Sunset Point Road. Here we have one violation, citing sections 4-1301, land clearing and grubbing permit required, section 51.301, development in a flood hazard area, section 51.901, development in a preservation area, and Article 4, 47.083.2 for work commencing before permit issuance. Notice of violation was sent on 5/20/21 with a compliance date of 60 days after the receipt of that notice. Certified mail receipt was received on 5/25/21. Notice of hearing was sent on 4/14 of this year, and certified mail was received for that on 4/24. Again, just to show where the property is, it's on the north side of Sunset Point, just east of US 19. Just to the right of the red dot is Suley Road, if you know where that is.
I thought that was it's just to the east of Sewell,
It's to the west of Sewell, to the east of 19.
west of Sewell. I lived that area. I can't figure out where it is, but it's okay, no problem.
It's right behind that legal building.
Oh, okay, right as you
The
turn
next
into
property
Sewell.
over.
Okay,
Correct.
gotcha.
Again, you saw this on Inspector Brown's slide. This is just showing the layout of the parcel. With this one, I want you to notice this is our zoning GIS map, and this is showing the preservation area, which is noted in green. It's marked with a P. That is the area of concern. And just to mention, section 3-907, buffers provided for purposes other than landscaping, states that a vegetative buffer shall be provided on all lands within 25 feet of any property designated on the zoning atlas as preservation. So this property does require a 25-foot buffer.
I have a question. If permits, from my understanding, based on the data so far, permits were pulled and work was done in 2019, and here we are later in the game, and I mean, if permits were pulled, documents were submitted, reviewed, plans, et cetera, how did this thing come to light or become an issue? Was this something outside of what was on the drawings, or, I mean, I'm a little confused about when this occurred. Did it occur outside of the original permits? How did this thing become an issue?
There were no original permits submitted.
From 2019? Okay.
I have another question. Excuse me. Are you familiar with all of the other organizations that he's dealing with? Is that a fact, the Swiftmud and all those other acronyms that he was throwing out? Are you aware of those?
Yeah, I'm aware of those.
So they're all involved. He's thrown in the
That's what I understand.
maelstrom of...
I haven't spoken with any of them, but that is my understanding.
Okay.
I can speak to that, and our position is that this is our code, and this is what's applicable to this board. To the extent that there are other governmental entities that have regulations that they enforce through their processes, we obviously can't control that. We don't have much say even in that. Try to coordinate with them if there becomes an issue. Certainly if a property owner says they're kind of caught in the middle, we try to resolve that as best we can. But this is the code that we have to deal with, and that's what we're trying to solve.
I appreciate that, and thank you for that description of it. I was just trying to point out the fact that he's got several different agencies he's dealing with, the complexity of it. I understand we're just dealing with this, totally. Thank you.
So no permits were applied in 2019, and now the litigant wants us to extend the time for permits.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit confused about the conversation that there were permits applied for in 2019, and there's no permits from 2019 that on the property or that might affect this, might play into this?
I'm not sure. If you
Yeah.
bear with me a second, maybe I don't have a full.
Yeah, why are we here if there was no permit? I mean,
Well,
why are we doing this?
It may be that he pulled other permits for other work that did not involve encroaching into the wetland buffer. I personally have no personal knowledge, so I can't speak to that. I don't know if anybody else from the city would know that. It's our understanding that there's been no permit for the land clearing and grubbing that occurred. You'll hear some evidence related to that here shortly. But I guess our case in summary, in very simple terms, is that there was not a proper land clearing and grubbing permit pulled for the dirt that was brought into the property and for the clearing of the vegetation that occurred within the buffer zone. So you'll hear the evidence that shows that, but whether there were other permits on the property for other work, I can't speak to that. And I don't
That wouldn't have anything to do with the permits he's wanting to pull now.
I'm not sure exactly what he was referring to, and certainly the board can directly ask him all sorts of questions now that he's said those things, but our position is that he did not have a permit to perform the clearing and the grubbing of the wetland buffer area, which is the 25 feet adjacent to the preservation district. So if you look at this code, it says it refers to two different lines. The first one is our zoning preservation district. The second one is the jurisdictional line of Florida. So when you refer to DEP, Swiftmud's the water management district. DEP is the state agency that regulates the environment, Clean Water Act, those sorts of things. We draw the line at our preservation district line, which is our zoning. If they get a wetland survey done that shows us where the state of Florida's jurisdiction begins, that wetland area, then we will move our line to that. We'll respect that line. We move our line to that. And then what we're talking about is the 25 feet off of that, where we require a natural vegetative buffer. So you can't go in there, you can't clear that area, you can't bring dirt in and fill up that area to raise it up. Those things are against the code. That's what the city is alleging has occurred here.
Perfect. Thank you for your clarity.
That really helps clear up.
Excuse me. Rebecca with Code Compliance. I would just want to reiterate and build upon what Jared is discussing here at the end to your question. There has been permits pulled at the property over the years that the property owner has hired contractors to deal with, but none of those specifically address what we're dealing with here today.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you can go ahead with your presentation, we'll probably get more information.
Okay, thank you. So again, this is just to show that buffer. The green hatch line shows the approximate location of that 25-foot buffer. Everything to the left of that would be preservation. And they would need to provide a survey when they submit their permit to show exactly where those lines are. And the flags from that survey will have to be out there so the landscape inspectors can see it. That all has to be verified. So this is just a Google Earth overview of the property back in 21, and it's just to show the amount of land clearing that was done. That large section in the center there, some of that is on the other side of the buffer, some of it is on the preservation side. So again, they would need to get that survey done. But it's also showing all the large piles on the north end there, and then there's a bunch of piles down on the south end. They did bring in a bunch of fill material to fill in that preservation area. So I just wanted to make sure that was seen. This is a photo from December of 2018, Google Earth, just to show, this is pointing down towards Sunset Point Road. I'm standing up on their property near the buildings, or I would be in this photo. I didn't take this photo. Sunset Point is down there in the background there. This is just to show the vegetation and where it was at that point. And this is a photo from July of 22 to show how far back that vegetation has been pushed. This photo is a few steps back from the previous photo where it was actually taken, but it's still showing the same area. Another before and after from the same position, just pointing toward the north. Again, you can see all the vegetation there on the left. You can see how close it is in relation to that power pole behind the trailer there in 2018. And then you go forward to July of 22, you can see that same pole is right above that container in the background there, and you can see how far back that vegetation has been removed. And this is one of our photos from 2021, and that's just showing all of the fill material that they brought in. I've got a lot of photos.
Can I stop you there for 1 second?
Yes.
The fill material, is that against code?
Yes.
Okay. And we don't know if all these other agencies that we're not worried about, maybe they told them to put that there. Do we know that or not?
I do not.
Okay.
And that field's been there since 2021, I see on the picture.
Yes. Where they've cleared out. Okay. Here's another photo of 2021, basically the same area. The only reason I included this photo is there's a couple of planter boxes that it would be within that buffer. This is one of the boxes. That's a simple fix. Those would need to be moved out of the buffer, excuse me, once that actual line is determined via a survey. And then for compliance to be met, a landscape plan prepared by a licensed professional that shows the buffer compliant with section 3-907A via a survey. And then all permitting will need to be inspected and completed. And our recommendation for that is apply for and obtain a permit by October 24th, 2023, and complete the permit by November 24th, 2023, or a fine of $150 per day that the violation continues to exist, and any reasonable cost to be applied as liens against the property. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law.
Thank you very much, and if you want to leave that slide up, that'd be
Yes.
great.
Can I ask a question?
Of me?
Before you go, one of the things, based on my experience as a contractor, normally the proper sequence, you apply for a permit, you provide your drawings, your plans, everything else, and then you get whatever comments back, those get addressed, you modify your plans, and you pull a permit. My concern about how this thing would sort out as it goes along is if we're now doing this well after the fact, and if they submit plans based on what was done and those are not approved, then what? I mean, you have a potential conundrum, and I'm just trying to understand in my mind that our purpose here is to get compliance, or have
Right.
this thing go into compliance. If the clearing and of growth and or trees or bushes or what have you, and the dirt's easy enough to pull back in. I mean, but you're talking about potentially having to put it back in its original condition if at the end of the day what was done is not allowed per code.
Well, at this point, all we're asking for is a landscape plan showing the whatever native materials they're planning on reinstalling back into that preservation area.
Sarah Kessler, lead environmental specialist in the Public Works Department. So I'm very familiar with the filling of the floodplain and everything. So we came to an agreement with the property owner several years ago that we are going to start at day one from that point forward. So what we asked them to complete was a jurisdictional wetland survey at that point. And from that point forward, that jurisdictional wetland survey was approved by the Water Management District, so that is legally binding line. we set that line as our preservation area. And so from that moment on, we are saying, okay, here's our line. We didn't have a good survey before to know exactly how much fill went in it or anything else. And so from right now, we're saying from this line, we need 25-foot buffer from that wetland line. So we're not, a lot has happened, and we're not trying to fix all the previous wrongs. We're trying to move forward from this point and just say, we just need that vegetated buffer to protect the wetland from this point forward, is what we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, that helps a lot.
To answer your other point, it's been 2 years. They've had enough time to work on this. There is the potential that they could incur fines because the permitting process takes a while. However, we did request these same dates that they asked for themselves.
These are the days that they asked
Yes,
for?
they
Well,
asked.
I can clarify that. I'd like to, if I may.
Certainly.
When we were talking about the hearing upcoming, I had spoken with their attorney. They had asked for 60 days to be able to get the permit. We continue to have these discussions about coordinating with these other agencies. And so based on that, they adjusted their ask to just ask for 90, to just one deadline without the interim milestone of getting the permit. I didn't really have time to coordinate with Mr. Cantrell and modify the PowerPoint and everything, but we just kind of put that to the board. We normally ask for that interim milestone so that we can have, something to encourage them to get that permit issued, so that we're not in crunch time when that 90 days is approaching or whatever. So this is our standard recommendation, but we obviously defer to the board because 60-30 versus just 90 is essentially the same thing in the end.
Thank you.
So,
You want to hear from them?
make a suggestion. Maybe we get an update as terms of where they are in the permit process, have they applied, or where are they with that, and determine the amount of time and have them come back and give us an update.
Let's make a first, we need the first motion first.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion to do that.
We need the first motion.
The first motion, yeah.
So we need the first motion first to get that out of the way, and then we can discuss that.
Daniel?
No, go ahead.
I don't have it in front of me.
Just turn to page.
Just the first motion.
Yeah, turn first motion page.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if you intend to hear from them, but I think it might be appropriate to just hear what their rebuttal is to our presentation.
Right, either way, the first motion's fine. It's just a point of fact for the first motion, and then we go on.
All right. I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All right. And now we can move on to having Garrett explain it to us.
Okay, so we were going to come back up.
Yes.
In response to this, first, it was our understanding, we pulled a permit back in 2019 that dealt with clearing and grubbing. We also understand that the city does not agree with this permit, but we wanted to put on, I think that's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Okay, sorry, it's got the bottom time.
There you go. Sorry.
We understand that the city disagrees that this permit was correct. And, yeah, no. And so, for purposes of this hearing, I'm not sure how much this is applicable. We understand that in order to move forward, we need to admit violation. We are okay with admitting violation in order to move forward with this landscape plan and to work with the city. We appreciate Inspector Cantrell and Attorney Simpson working with us, and we'd really like to just move forward. So, we will admit violation for purposes of this hearing, and we would ask, like I said, the 90 days, we would be more than happy to give a 60-day update where we're at in the permitting process. We just think that would be the most appropriate timeline. But other than that, I think this is a good outcome for all parties.
You want to make that motion?
What's the,
There's no written anything. You have to make it just verbally.
Just make it up.
do it?
60 days and 90 days.
I suggest that we move this violation for permits to be applied for 60 days, and that would put us up to, what, October? The 24th?
Do it 90 days.
Oh, well, we're going to do 90?
We're going to check in at 60 days.
Check in at 60.
Check in at 60.
Permit would
Okay.
be November
We'll bring you back in
and
60
check in
days.
at October 24th.
We don't
Yeah,
need a
those
motion.
2 dates on the thing.
Yeah, I know.
You don't need a motion.
We don't need a motion.
Not for the check-in.
No.
No.
Okay, thank you
Just
very
come back
much.
in 60 days.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
full
you.
explanation.
Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify, when the city was asking for a finding of a violation with a hard deadline with a fine to be imposed. So I want to get some clarification. Is the board not taking any action on this today, and we're just coming back in 60 days? Is that what just happened?
That's what I was led to believe. I'm not sure now.
We'll come back in
If
60
you're
days.
going to do that, then you need to take a motion that you will hear the second part of this in 60 days.
I move we hear the second part of this in 60 days.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's it. Fair enough.
Thank you.
We'll get there.
Is this true that 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, and 4.8 are all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to unfinished business. Wow, that was quick.
What did we do with those? What did we do?
I'm still writing on this.
Those
case.
are all done, this case is.
Oh, all right.
Accept the affidavits and compliance as listed. They're all the same, Nicole, I can lump them together?
Yes.
Oh, these are all.
So we're going to accept the affidavits and compliance as listed in 5.11, case 104-22, 5.1.2, case number 21-23, 5.1.3, case 25-23, case 5.14, 5.1.14, case 26-23, case 5.1.5, case 44-23, and case 5.1.6, case 64-23. Do we have an affidavit of compliance?
I move we accept the affidavits of compliance as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 7.2 is the next one, correct, Nicole?
Correct? Yes.
Case 7423, accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents, Flat Rock Holdings Group LLC at 18600 US Highway 19. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Board. I am Dave Jensen, the City of Clearwater Code Inspector. This is, as stated, going to be for 18600 US 19, case number 7423. Violations here are excessive growth and an accumulation and placement of nuisances. These are the dates of notice and the compliance date. Compliance date was 6/30 of 23. So this property actually was just sold several months ago. It took a little while for a property appraiser to catch up, so I had contact and a proper mailing address for the current owner, which is the Flat Rock, as mentioned. I have been in contact with the owner. Just so you know, as we move forward, they are trying to put together, he did send me the agreement with a company to do the work on the property to get the mowing and the removal of the junk taken care of. However, since we are past the compliance date, I do want to get a decision from the board in case something falls through with that or anything else. We can make sure the property does get taken care of. So this is back on 6/20. You can see the posting there. The size of the growth here, as well as this is a very shallow ravine. However, it does retain water, so the vegetation there grows very quickly. This is another small retention type area. Again, same thing, water pools there. It grows very quickly at that area of the property. This is a pile of junk that the previous owner in this area had removed a bunch of garbage that people dump here. Unfortunately, it is one of those areas in town. There used to be a McDonald's on this property. The building and everything was torn down years ago, so it's just an empty lot now. And you guys, the board knows how that works. Everything just gets kind of dumped there. Unfortunately, it's what we're running into as well. So, again, speaking with the owner, he is trying to get a contract in place with a company to get everything taken care of. This was on 7/10. Showing nothing's been taken care of at that point. Again, on 8/9. Same thing, all the junk is still there. It looks like somebody may have taken that nice office chair that was there. This was just on the 21st of this month, a couple of days ago, and you can see my posting stake here and how tall that vegetation is now. So, again, compliance has not been met. The property is still in the same condition. We are asking for a board order to make sure that the property can get taken care of. The compliance can be met by mowing and removal of the grass and foliage from the property, maintain the property free from overgrowth, removal of the junk and debris, the waste from the property. Asking for compliance 5 days after the board renders its order for the excessive growth and accumulation placement of nuisances.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How long has this been going on?
Originally with the prior owners, I had contacted them about it. Yeah, I can't give you that date because I only have the dates for this case with the current owner. But it was getting overgrown at that point, and when I did contact them, the property had already been sold. Unfortunately, the Pinellas County property appraiser, the update for their online stuff that we have to use is, they're pretty behind like every government agency is right now. Yeah. So the prior owner did give me the contact information for the current owner, and I was able to speak with him before I did send him the notice. I let him know the history of the property, and he stated he understood that he had talked with the previous owner. He understood the vegetation overgrowth and the junk placement and stuff like that, and that he would get it taken care of. In speaking with him recently, he stated to me he's been trying to get somebody to take care of the property. He's having a problem finding a company that will come in and do the mowing and then continue to do it because they don't feel it's enough for them to continue on. So that's what his statement is. And so he has found a company that says they will do it. He actually emailed me copies of their contract proposals and everything. So as long as those take place, that'd be great. But again, since we're so far past compliance with the property, and again, I did speak to the owner and let him know it's got to get taken care of a couple months ago. And, we're 2 months into it and it's still not taken care of. So,
That's when you first posted it?
yeah, 6/20 was.
So do we have a motion to accept?
I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of the code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order.
This is a nuisance abatement claim, isn't that a different
Yes,
one?
I'm sorry.
It's a nuisance abatement claim, isn't it?
All right.
Yeah.
Then I move to find the, well, that's what I read.
It's not, oh, did you?
Yeah, he was reading 7.
Okay.
You were right,
Do we have a second? Or did you finish?
Well, he never finished it.
Yeah. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with a reasonable cost which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
My bad.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Can I make a comment before we vote on this?
Sure.
You're only giving them 5 days. Wouldn't it be better to give them a little more time than that, or?
That 5 days is flexible, so that gives us the ability, again, if the property's not taken care of, and it's not, we haven't been able to get a hold of anyone, or, someone says we're just not going to do it.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that on day 5, we.
Gotcha.
But nuisance abatements are usually, as you can tell, been there for a long time and you're not getting any response.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already had 2 months.
That was
Okay.
what was behind my question of asking him how long he's been dealing with it. The conversation said it's been going on for 60 days.
I'm happy.
He's got a paper in hand. If it's critical enough, I think 5 days.
So we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
7.4, case 8923, accept nuisance abatement lien for respondents Elizabeth Simmons, EST, at 1780 Harbor Drive for lot clearing. Welcome.
New board.
Wait a minute.
7.3.
7.3?
7.4.
Oh.
7.3 is continued.
You old guys down there at the end get in motion.
Just got new glasses. All right.
Afternoon, Board. Inspector Gregory Dixon. This is for case number 89-23, 1780 Harbor Drive. It is a nuisance abatement. There's one violation at this property for overgrowth. Notice of violation was posted and mailed on August 1st with a compliance date of the 11th, and the certified mail receipt was received back in the office on the 8th. This is a property on the initial day of inspection, August 1st. I believe this is a vacant home. I haven't seen anybody there. Nobody's contacted me. Here's a couple days after the compliance date. No change. And here's the property today. No change. And compliance coming back for clearing all overgrowth from the property.
And for my recommendation, request compliance 5 days after the board renders its order. If compliance is not met, request an order be issued allowing the city to enter the property and abate the nuisance.
Thank you.
And when was it first posted? When did you-
August 1st.
August? This August?
And that
Recently, okay.
No response from the owner?
Posting's still standing in the yard. Nobody's taking it down.
Sort of-
Somebody signed for the mail, but nobody called me.
Nobody's called you, okay.
Well, let's fix that.
And again, these are ones where you saw
Right.
nothing's going on, it becomes a nuisance to the neighborhood.
Right. Nobody here to speak on it, correct? Do you know?
I don't believe so.
Bob, you did a good job on all that. You want to go for this one?
I won't say anything.
All right, I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with a reasonable cost which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Oh, second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Case number 90-23, accept the nuisance abatement lien for respondents Fort Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Harris Square, thank you. At 1406 North Garden Avenue for lot clearing. Mr. Kasman?
I'm a lot clearing.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Good afternoon, Board.
Good afternoon.
Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is for 1406 North Garden Avenue. It's a nuisance abatement, case number 90-23. Just one violation here for Code Section 3-1503 B5A, B7, B10 for accumulation, placement, and nuisances, lot clearing violation of abutted right-of-way. Notice violation was sent and properly posted on these dates. The compliance date was 5th of August. We did get the certified mail back from this one. This is a field.
So you did or did not?
I did get the certified mail back for this property. I've been in contact with the owner. This is a large lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, about the 1400 block in North Garden. There's an extremely large, some sort of bus or RV or large vehicle on the property. But the continuous issue is that there's just trash, garbage, and piles which either come from the landscaping of the grounds of the property or come from possible dumping on the property. I've had my eye on this one for a little bit. Like I said, the other issue is they let the palmettos grow out so people can't use the sidewalk on the sides there. I posted it on the 31st of July. I had been in contact with the owner of the property, or property management at least, and they did come by eventually after the compliance date and cut certain things, but the issue has been that they still have left all the piles of debris on the property. There seems to be some sort of presence there because this pile right here is just full of garbage, food items, plastic food items, and like I said, the same piles of debris continue to be on the property. And I've contacted again with photos showing that these items are there, and they still haven't taken a response. This isn't the first time this property's been brought forth for a lot clearing. It seems to happen every year since Acela has been implemented with the city. So, compliance has been met for lot clearing by removing all garbage, organic debris, and other miscellaneous trash from the premises. Requesting compliance on it before 5 days from the date the board renders its order.
Thank you. And you're our last case, too, so thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move to enter an order finding the respondent in violation of code and requiring the respondent to correct the violations within 5 days of the board's written order. If the respondent does not comply within the time specified, the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property, to abate and maintain the nuisance and charge the respondent with the reasonable costs, which will become a lien on the property. If costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any more business to come before this board? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Good job.
I think we're staying for a little